Indirect and direct object pronouns, when they're used together, it can be tricky to use them together for a couple reasons, and just for non-native speakers, when someone's using them, sometimes it's hard to know what they're getting at. So the more that you know and practice, the better off you'll be. So quick review, indirect object pronouns, IOPs, they're generally referring to people. And then direct object pronouns, generally it's talking about the object. So IOPs, me, te, le, nos, os, les. And if you remember, we put stars by these because of what happens when you use these two together. All right, so when using IOPs and DOPs together, le and les becomes se. Le and les becomes se. So this is primarily because of a sound issue. Like if you were to keep le and les together and add a direct object pronouns, it would sound like le, lo, and it doesn't sound very good. So it's a language that sound is important, so we don't say le, lo, we would say se, lo. Se, lo. Another quick tip is that when you're using them together, indirect object pronouns come before direct object pronouns. If it helps you remember just the general rule, you can think people first. All right, so let's look at some examples, see what it looks like. We're gonna get it in English here, and then we'll shorten these objects to indirect object pronouns. So the examples, he gives me the book. All right, so we start with he gives. So él, he, and then we want to say first the person, so the action's directed at me, so we use me, él, me. The book is el libro in Spanish, so direct object pronoun libro is masculine and singular, so we're going to use lo. Él me lo, and then let's conjugate dar for he in present tense, da. So he gives me the book, shortened form, he gives it to me. Él me lo da. He gives it to me. All right, next one. They give us the chairs. All right, let's look at a couple of things. So us is going to be our indirect object pronoun. Nos is what we're going to use here. So we'll start with they. Ellos, nos. And then the chairs in Spanish is las sillas. Ellas, so that means it's feminine and plural, so we're going to use the direct object pronoun las. And then they give, dan. Ellos nos las dan. They give it, or them, to us. All right, last example, and this is where we're going to see le and les become se when we add indirect object pronoun and direct object pronoun together. So I give her a candy So I will start just putting yo out front. I give her. So normally, if we weren't using it together, this would become le. However, we know that we also want to use the direct object pronoun, so we'll be using se here. Yo sé, and then candy in Spanish is either el dulce or el caramelo. In Argentina, they use caramelo, so I'll stick with what I'm more familiar with. It depends on the country, some of these words. All right, el caramelo, it is masculine and singular, so we'll use lo. Yo sé lo, and then I give, in present tense, doy. Yo se lo doy. I give it to her. Practice these a few times. Try to doing it reverse too, where someone will write out yo se lo doy or ellos nos las dan in different sentences, and see if you can translate them back to English. That will be a good chance for you to look at too, if you really understand going both from English to Spanish and Spanish to English, to help your understanding of the language both ways. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you have any questions as you're working through this. Espero que estén bien. Adiós y chao.